All right, this is the Quentin Tarantino podcast with Luke Pereira-Ogan.
Nick Economides.
And Evan Rosenberg.
Today we're just going to step you through Quentin Tarantino's films, talk about them. So first off, his first film came out in 1992, Reservoir Dogs. Really good film, very violent. One of the best things about it is it's a heist movie and you never see the heist.
It's a good introduction to Quentin Tarantino's filmmaking style, the multiple characters, great dialogue. It's a good introduction into his style.
Yeah, I really like the plot of this movie. I really enjoy how, there weren't so many heist movies before this. He really inspired a lot of plots in other people's films.
Yeah, the way he writes dialogue is great. It's one of the first films to have a non-linear story, and it is a great introduction to Tarantino. But I think the first film that really put his style on the map was Pulp Fiction, which is I don't know if it's my favorite of his, but it's in my top 10 films of all time, and we'll talk about another one of his later. So I love this film. I think it's great. I think it's hilarious, even when it probably shouldn't be that funny.
What I think is cool about this film, first of all, it's brilliantly written, but what's very cool is that it's very quotable. Like, you always hear people say words that have been written by Quentin Tarantino for this movie, and I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, again, it put him on the map. It put independent films on the map. He gets great performances from, Samuel L. Jackson and all the other great characters in that movie. It's amazing.
He did one last thing about it. He reintroduced John Travolta, who had a big slump, and he came back with this film. So the next film, which I've seen, I don't know if you guys have seen, it's one of his lesser known films, is Jackie Brown. Have you seen it?
I have not seen that.
Have you seen it? All right. Jackie Brown, I think, is really underrated. I think what he tried to do was recreate Pulp Fiction, and it wasn't as good as Pulp Fiction, but it's still a great film that I don't think gets talked about enough. So,
another great performance by Samuel L. Jackson again. He just works so well with the dialogue, the solid dialogue that Quentin likes to write, and it goes over really well. It's a good movie.
Yeah, really great film. Robert De Niro's in it. It's got a great cast. Great film. Next up, he did Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, and we'll just talk about this as one film. So, really great film. It introduced it's like a Japanese film for American culture. Great female-led hero. Brutal, completely over the top, which most of his films are over the top, but this one's really nuts. You got somebody's arms getting chopped off, and
this is a
lot of blood's going
very
on.
very weird film, but it was intriguing. I didn't want to stop watching it. I was like, what the heck? What's gonna happen next? This is a strange film.
The first Quentin Tarantino movie I watched as a little kid. Probably shouldn't have watched it as a little kid. But, yeah, it's a different style movie. If you look at his filmography, those first three films are very similar to each other. And then this takes a pivot to that more kung fu style type of movie with his own flair to it.
Yeah, great revenge film, too, and one of the best soundtracks of any movie, in my opinion. So next up is Death Proof, which is his worst film, I think, in my opinion. I think most people would agree with that. I get what he was trying to do. He's trying to be a B film, but I didn't think it worked that well, and it's not as long as most of his films are, so there's not that great dialogue that you get in his films. It's still an enjoyable movie, but it's not great.
Yeah, tries to go back to the Machete type of films, that B movie-esque. A good cast still. Kurt Russell gives a good performance, but it's just lackluster. It's not that good. It doesn't go over too well.
Evan, have you seen it?
Yeah, I didn't like this one either. I think it was not really not just not good enough for the movies we're expecting from Quentin Tarantino. Maybe if it were directed and performed by some other people, maybe it would have been a little bit better, but I didn't like it.
I think it would have been worse. I'm just talking about everyone else.
Next up is, I think, the best dialogue written film we've ever gotten from Quentin Tarantino. Probably my second favorite Tarantino film in my top 10 movies of all time is Inglourious Basterds. This movie is incredible, and one of the things I love about it is it's really just people talking the whole time, but then there's some action in there, and it's such a great film. Great performances by Brad Pitt, and I think one of the best performances of all time by Christoph Waltz as the Jew hunter.
Yeah, it's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie by far. It's that World War II movie again with his style. He puts so much of these genres in his style. And we'll get to Django Unchained, which is Western in his style, and the way he creates tension in the bar and other places in the movie, it's just incredible. Great performances, great writing, all around a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie as well, and I just really enjoy how he makes it so that this very serious topic of history, and he takes it and he puts a different spin on it, and it's very enjoyable for the viewers.
Yeah, I think that alternate history timeline where he dies in the movie theater is very, very, it's interesting. It's an interesting take.
Yeah,
for him.
That took a lot of guts to kill Hitler, and that scene in the dinner when they're pretending to be Nazis is one of the most tense scenes created out of playing a board game.
Yeah, that bar scene is unlike anything in film.
That is it's a great way to. I think this is the first. If you've never seen a Tarantino film, this is the first one you should watch, in my opinion. So next up, we got Django Unchained, which I believe is his best movie money-wise. I think that movie made the most. Once again, working with Christoph Waltz, this time as a anti-hero, I guess. Not necessarily. He's a hitman, but he's still a good guy. A great film, got a lot of controversy for its use of the N-word, which I can see why people were a little upset by that, but I don't necessarily agree with it because it was the time period, and one of the funniest scenes of all time involves this is going to sound bad, but involves KKK members and bags on their heads, and it is absolutely hilarious.
And of course, there's a great cast, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jamie Foxx, Samuel L. Jackson, and it was so Quentin Tarantino-esque, so gory, so bloody, so over the top. It was really, really cool. Yeah,
it grossed $425 million as a rated R movie. It's a great achievement, and it's a great achievement in a long form movie, so well over 2 hours long, but it keeps its pace really well. Christoph Waltz is excellent, and Jamie Foxx is probably second best movie behind Collateral. Makes him an actual actor.
Collateral's great. Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't even think he got nominated for this film, but he should have won this over The Revenant or anything else he's been in. I thought he was great. It's the first time we really saw him as a villain, a despicable.
Mm-hmm. The way he creates tension.
Yeah.
In some of those scenes, where trying to get the wife back is great.
The scene at the dinner table when he cuts his hand and
keeps on acting.
It's great. It's great.
It's excellent.
So next up, his most recent film is The Hateful Eight. This film was definitely a huge homage to older films. It was shot on 70mm lenses that were used for movies. I think like Ben-Hur, the same lenses. It's pretty much the story of And Then There Were None combined with actually Reservoir Dogs. One of the best soundtracks of all time. He got the guy that did The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Again, Samuel L. Jackson. I love this film. I'd say it's my third favorite of his. I think it's a little bit underrated. It's very long. There's an intermission in the middle of it. But a really incredible film in my opinion.
Yeah, the 70mm really goes over well. It's a stage play filmed with great cinematic quality. Fences was a movie like that where there wasn't a lot of cinematic quality to it. It was just kind of like the actors acting and they recorded it. But yeah, Hateful Eight deserves it. It's an amazing, amazing movie. Should have got more recognition. I think it's a little underrated.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. All right, let's should we rank our movies?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'd say my favorite is Pulp Fiction, then Inglourious Basterds, then The Hateful Eight, then Kill Bill. Then I'm gonna go Reservoir Dogs. Then Jackie Brown. And then Death Proof. One I want to talk about real quick, which I think you said you hadn't seen, was True Romance. He wrote this film. He didn't direct it. Really, I love this film. One of the best dialogue scenes with Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper. Very tense, and that's what you get out of Tarantino's movies, is very tense scenes.
True Romance is a great movie.
Yeah.
Good cameo by Brad Pitt. He kind of tops it off. It's a great movie. Well written. Christopher Walken, excellent. Great tensions built throughout that movie. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta say my favorite is Inglourious Bastards, then Django Unchained, and then Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, my favorite has to be Inglourious. Inglourious is an amazing achievement in World War II filmmaking. Kind of changed the game with those kind of films. Django Inglourious, Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight, Django, Kill Bill, Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown. Yeah. But those are all amazing films. He's batting 8 for 8. Yeah. Probably the third best filmmaker in the 2000s behind Inarritu and behind Christopher Nolan. He's excellent.
He's actually my personal favorite director of all time, so I'd put him ahead of those guys. But it's great. He's one of the most well-known filmmakers, and he only has 8 films, which I think is pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty modest. I think he's only getting started, or he could be at the end of his wits. Every film is almost perfect. Or
well, he's got some. He has more than 8 films. He's got quite a bit, but those are.
He's directed 8 films. Yeah.
He's written a bunch of other stuff.
He's written a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Those for today. Thank you.